What's up, my beautiful people? This is Kristen Peoples coming to you, thebossofculture.org. I hope you're doing super fabulous today. I'm going to jump right into today's topic because I know you're anxious to find out what I feel about HR and following the chain of command. Just a disclaimer is that I am not an attorney, as we already know, and that anything I share on this channel is just based on my own experiences, my own thoughts, and my own beliefs. And any legal advice, I urge you to please just reach out to an employment attorney. But again, this is just purely giving my advice, my experiences, and my thoughts, being that I have experienced workplace bullying abuse for several years, and I was able to navigate through it, and I'm on the mend, and I'm all about dedicating this channel to helping you. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and light this incense. Today's incense is intuition. And the reason why I chose intuition today is for more reasons than one. And if anyone knows me, you know I'm deep. There's always a method to my madness. And I was led to this incense today because, there are so many people out there that don't trust themselves, right? Many times we doubt ourselves. We look for the opinion and acceptance of others instead of trusting and believing in ourselves. Oftentimes there's this tiny voice inside of us we don't listen to, and it's called our intuition. It's our personal GPS. And what I've learned to believe and what I know now is that my intuition is my superpower. I'm going to repeat that again, and I want you to repeat that with me. My intuition is my superpower. And don't ever forget it, because your intuition is your superpower as well. So with that being said, I'm going to also share an affirmation with you. And I know I've shared it on this channel before, but for those of you who have missed the video that I shared this particular affirmation on, there's a reason why I needed to repeat this, because again, everything is in divine order. When I shoot these videos, it's all about downloads of things that I know that are on the hearts and minds of people that need to be shared. So this one comes to you from Florence Scovel Shinn, and this is the deck, the affirmation deck, the Law of Non-Resistance, the Game of Life. I will link everything whenever I present to you guys modalities, affirmations, inspiration. I always link the information in the description box below, so be sure to check that out. Get some of these positive goodies for your reinforcement, because we all have rainy days, right? And we need to have things in our toolbox that we can reach in and grab those tools when we need them. And affirmations is one of them. I swear by them. I don't just read things aloud. I actually feel them. I actually take them into my spirit. It's medicine for my soul. And again, like I said, this is just not me, not just reading words. This is me living in the message, if you will. So this says, an adverse situation can be good. I am undisturbed by it, and it falls away of its own weight. None of these things move me. And what that means is that you're going to have situations in life, and you got to be like a mountain and not be moved. And if you're experiencing any kind of difficulty in your life, you have to have the strength to stand tall. You got to understand that if you're not your own advocate, then who the heck will be your advocate? I know for me, when I was being attacked on the job on a daily, I thought about my family often. My family was the reason why I stayed so long. I had a life plan, and things did not turn out as planned. And that's how life is. You have a plan, and sometimes things detour. That plan alters itself if it's not in alignment with your true purpose, right? So clearly I wasn't in alignment, and that was the reason why I was being moved. And if you're facing an adverse situation within your career or any relationship or anything that you've involved yourself in, if you're constantly fighting, if you're constantly having issues, know that it's time for you to move. It's time for you to move on. Things should not be a struggle. Things should be a flow. So on to the topic of today, what I wanted to discuss with you today, it's with regards to human resources and whether or not you should trust them and go to them should you be having an issue on the job. And my short answer to that is absolutely do not trust human resources. Again, this is my own personal belief. This is based on my own experience. Again, you have to listen to your intuition on whether or not you want to trust human resources. But understand this, the human resources, the managers and the people that work in the human resource department, they are employees just like you. And they are hired to protect the company, not you. They are hired to protect management, upper management, not you. So if you're ever coaxed into going to human resources, which was the beginning of my problems, a manager whom I trusted at the time, who ended up being, he was like almost the demise of everything that ever happened. And it was just a snowball effect after that. He advised that I go to HR, but it was a setup. And see, once you go to HR, you're labeled already as a troublemaker. I'm just going to come out and say it. And if you think that human resources is going to have your back, think again. If anything, they're going to be looking at you sideways. And they're going to be watching you from that point forward. If you go to human resources, best believe whoever you're going to complain about, if they are in management or upper management, they're going to hear about it. And they're not going to like the fact that you reported them. So, word to the wise. We are also taught to follow the chain of command. I highly suggest you do that. But do it with caution. I explain in these videos how important documentation is. And it truly is important to document everything. People, places, time. Heck, if you even want to describe the way their facial expressions were, how you felt. I mean, get descriptive. Have a timeline of events, because should you have to go outside of the company and hire an employment attorney, they are going to want a timeline of events. Do not wait until things completely hit the fan for you to start trying to remember things and document. That's not the way this goes. Again, listen to your intuition. You know when you're not being treated fairly. You know when you're being singled out and you see your coworkers just coming to work, working in peace, and for whatever reason, you're always in the hot seat. When you start seeing those differences between yourself and your coworkers, whether it's something big or not, document it. Start that timeline. Make sure that you protect yourself, because at the end of the day, that documentation is going to be your saving grace. Let me repeat that. Documentation is key. If you want to protect yourself, and if should you ever need to go to an employment attorney, you need documentation. You need a timeline. Look up, if you need to Google timeline for employment attorneys. When you reach out to an employment attorney, which is typically free to call them to have a consultation. If they want to charge you, call the next one. You guys, this is all about not giving up. If you call one employment attorney and they can't help you, move on to the next. Do not give up. Because not only are you standing up for yourself, you're standing up for your family, and you're standing up for other people that are coming behind you. I'm letting you know, and I'm letting you know this, and I have to be 100% honest with you, because I'm all about honesty on this channel. Once you are singled out as a target of workplace bullying abuse, it is not going to get better. I'm going to repeat that again. If you think that your circumstances are going to change once you have been targeted, they will not. So, while you are documenting, while you are taking the necessary time off that you need for a mental break, because you probably will be if you are experiencing workplace bullying abuse, take that time off by all means. But cover your bases, document everything. Take advantage of every benefit that you have. If they have an EAP program, take advantage of that. But if you do take advantage of that, and I did as well, be very careful and selective with the information that you share. Because again, these people may or may not work for the company. Sometimes they're hired out. But again, I trusted no one when I was being targeted for workplace bullying abuse. Again, that goes for the chain of command. Be careful with the information that you're sharing as you are reporting in situations that are not right up the chain of command. Again, these people work together. They are all about covering each other's behinds. So the last person they're thinking about is covering you. Every now and again, you'll have a good human resource manager or a good person within the departments which you're going to report these instances. But trust your instincts. 9 times out of 10, from my experience, again, I'm only speaking from my experience, that has only come back to haunt and bite me. So in this, know that you are alone in that situation, but you're not alone when it comes to this community. And that is why I make these videos. That is why I encourage you to visit the website at bossupculture.org for the help and support that you need, that you join the Facebook groups where there is support for you. But be very selective, my friends, in who you're sharing this information with. Know that you are going to have to find another place of employment. You will, or start your own company, right? This will give you the opportunity to work on the things that you love. Start living your dream. But certainly don't sit around and wait for things to come back and haunt you. Other things that you can do in the meantime, as I had a phone conversation with someone called me the other day, and they were really nervous about a meeting that they were having with a manager who was harassing them. Harassment is kind of hard to prove, just so that you know that too. When it comes to reporting your company to EEOC, you got to have that documentation tight. But what I was explaining to that person was that your time is very valuable. And when 9 times out of 10, when you're being abused at work, they're trying to take you away from your work. They want to make it seem, because usually they go after the hard workers. They usually go after the people that there's, some type of professional jealousy. People like you, but they don't like them. They're incompetent in their jobs. And they just want to make you, because they got to find something wrong with you, right? So if you're doing your job, if they constantly pull you in conference rooms or constantly schedule these meetings so they can tear you down, because that's another tactic, try to avoid it. For me, what I did was I scheduled every possible meeting in conference rooms so I did not have to be at my desk. So the one particular manager I had at the time, who was a female, because again, I had a mob of people after me. So it wasn't just 1 or 2 people, it was the entire group. So as we had reorganizations, I was just being switched around to managers who had already been discussing me behind my back. How did I know? Because people told me that they were so interested in talking about how to make my life miserable, as opposed to discussing company business. We had all kinds of issues and irons in the fire and things business-wise they should have been discussing. But instead, I was so important. They were discussing how to make my life miserable. And I'm sure they're having those same discussions about you. So schedule time away from your desk. Fill up that calendar, so when they look on the calendar, they see that you have meetings elsewhere. I scheduled them in other buildings. I would book a conference room. They didn't know if I had a meeting or not. You may not have that job where you can schedule a meeting, but for sure, take that time to be able to get away so that you can get valuable work done, so that they cannot use that as an excuse. The other thing that I did too was so that I could avoid the what do you call it? I called it, whenever they called me into a conference room, was just the tear down sessions. To prepare for the tear down sessions, I began playing chess with that too. What I did was I asked for an agenda in advance, because I noticed that every time I would get called into a conference room, it was always a list of things that were so that they could discuss personal attacks. It wasn't even a discussion. It was just, shooting me with personal attacks to get me so they could push my buttons so that I could lose it, so that I could, I guess I'm assuming be fired. But I kept it cool. Or for me, my body took over and I would have these massive panic attacks because I just could not take the attacks, on my character, on who I am as a person. So again, like I said, when I started protecting myself and my mental health and knowing what was coming for me. So when I couldn't avoid not meeting anymore because you don't want to be insubordinate, that will be another reason for them to get rid of you, right away. You want to be able to leave on your terms. You want to have all of your ducks in a row before you leave, and never let that right hand know what the left hand's doing. So you request an agenda, and the second you get in that meeting room and it goes left, you have to bring them back to the agenda. And after a couple times, if they can't adhere to the agenda, and you've asked them respectively to go back to the agenda and they can't, then the meeting has to be over. And you document that as well. Find out in your state whether or not it is illegal to record. Again, I am not an attorney. Find out what is legal and what is not. But once you're singled out, game on. And I want you to be victorious in the game they started with you. One thing my parents taught me was, don't start the fight. And what I also teach my kids and what my parents taught me is, I will finish it. And you will remember my name. So let you be the last person they pick on. You show them who the real boss is. Hence the reason why I call my organization bossupculture.org, because we're all about bossing up here, you guys. Think about your family. And I know for me, I took it very, very personally. When I was being attacked, I knew that they were coming for my children, and they were coming for my husband. They were coming for just my household in general. And I was not going to let anyone disrupt my children's lifestyle. And that's why I stood in there so as long as I did. So be strong. I know you can do this. And again, be very, very selective as to who you share your business with. Everyone at work, your work sister, your work family, everyone's not family when it comes to them pulling them in a conference room and having them turn on you. You understand what I'm saying? Because when it comes down to paychecks and job security, they will be happy to give you up to save themselves. So keep your mouth shut. Okay? And keep your head up. Mouth shut and head up. You can do this. You've got this. For more information on workplace bullying abuse, I have a plethora of videos here. I'm here for you. Everything I was looking for, what I was going through it, I have provided it here. I have created everything I was looking for so that you don't have to feel alone, so that you're not out here struggling trying to figure out what your next move is, because you know what your next move is. You've got a friend in me. I've got your back, and so does everyone else in this community. Know that I love you, and you're going to make it. And when you are successful, because that's what they're afraid of, you're going to look back at this and laugh. I promise you. But in the meantime, look back and give back. Don't just leave people. Don't just up and quit. Quitting is not the answer. That's what they want you to do. You're walking away from very valuable benefits when you just walk away from your job. Listen to your intuition. I love you. Until next time, I'm Kristen Peoples. Peace. Take care. Bye.